most companies and founders don't understand that sales is a complex organization. We have a unique system that's objective, prescriptive, and actually scores the opportunities, the sales opportunities that are within your team. And so it's done through a 45 to 60 minute audit. We can actually come out of that audit and say to you about your team, they can sell this many million more in this amount of time if you'll do these 10 things.
No way, stop, wait. You actually have it that broken down like almost an equation, quantifiable for your client.
Yes.
Wow. Hello everyone and welcome to The Roadmap, exclusively here on ASBN.com. I'm Lee Heisman, and every week we bring you some of the brightest entrepreneurs, CEOs and business owners who are climbing the ladder, scaling their businesses, and one day thinking about exiting stage left. Today I'm here with a very good friend of mine, Mr. Ken London. Ken, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I couldn't be more excited. This is going to be an awesome conversation.
Well, I will tell you, it's going to be awesome for me. I get to listen to you, which I think all of our viewers and listeners should do as well. But Ken is the CEO and founder of RevHeat. Talk about what RevHeat is.
Yeah, RevHeat, the essence of it, it's a sales training and consulting company. We work with fast-growing companies, turnarounds, who want to scale and improve their actual traction so they can potentially get to an exit.
So talk about that a little bit. And when people are growing their business, are they thinking of that exit? And you talk a little about, the roadmap is about businesses that start, owners that want to grow their business, and eventually think of that exit. And however that exit comes, whether it's a full acquisition or a partial acquisition, but you have to get there, right? And part of PE firms, they are looking for stability in unique companies, but they're looking for growth. They're looking for growth, and that solves everything. Talk about your experience in that area with some unicorns that you've worked with.
Well, let's just understand one thing, right? That if you aren't growing, you're not showing that type of movement, then you're actually not getting the valuation your company deserves. In today's day and age, when the cost of capital has gone through the roof and valuations are coming down, if you don't have sales traction, you don't have a real valuation for a viable exit. So yeah, we've worked with 3 different unicorns, and we've seen those exits anywhere between $1 billion and $2.5 billion. And behind the scenes, it's grow at all costs. Might not be right if you're bootstrapping or you don't have all the extra money, but it's a grow at all costs mentality, and it has to be repeatable. So you put $1 in and you get X dollars out.
So that's what PE firms look for. They're looking to mitigate their risk and invest in organizations that are doing that. Do the PE firms bring you in, or do the companies bring you in?
We've had both happen. Sometimes the company will bring us in because we're pre-transaction. Sometimes we're post-transaction because the PE firm realizes, the statistics say that only about 48% of the time a PE firm can actually impact the sales side of the organization, because most of the time it's a roll-up or some sort of platform play. And so with that, they're like, hey, can you come in and set this right? Because we work with a lot of PE firms who are trying to buy a value. If they buy a value, there's certain things wrong in the organization. Usually one of those is sales traction.
So talk a little bit about yourself, if I may. Just take a step back, because so your credibility is there. You've done this for multiple organizations, but you had to start your organization at some point. What prompted you to do that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, I think, because I'd always run companies. Like I'd owned a company previously. I'd been a VP of sales here. I'd been a VP of sales.
So you've worked in corporate America in certain regards.
Yeah, we worked with everything from the multi-billion-dollar organization to the $250 million organizations. And I thought what was interesting is I started to see a change in business owners' mentality back in 2017, and many of them did not like their customers. So they wanted to bring me in to double their companies, because that was my mantra, but they didn't like their customers. And so I was like, okay, wait a second. We need to be able to choose who we can work with. So now we have a great opportunity. We work with companies who want to actually do this, as opposed to seeing that their customers might be a impediment to how much they enjoy their business.
All right, fair. I like that. So talk about your organization, right? How have you, you're the master sales, and we're going to get into that later about some information we can share with our audience about how they can learn from you. But you've been doing this your whole life. Right. You are young and spry in my mind, of course, but obviously you have the experience there. Talk about your organization, how you've created your team to help spread your word.
When we look at our team, we're looking at specializing. And it's very different than, say, most other sales, consulting, and training industries or companies, because I think the sales, training, and consulting industry is broken. I think it's a junk for the most part. There are a lot of great, smart people, but I think it's broken because we would never teach a company to sell the way that we sell our services to our clients. So I realized that a few years ago. So what we did is we tried to say, okay, how do I put the best experts for each discipline? Because most companies and founders don't understand that sales is a complex organization. Like it's systems and processes, it's training, it's hiring, it's onboarding.
So it's not just selling and knocking on doors. You're telling me your organization is broken up into segments that are specialized for that part. So sales is not just a one-step process, it's a multiple-step process. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that it's, as an example, if your team's underperforming, the question shouldn't necessarily be, is my sales team any good? The first question you should ask is, do I have the systems in place to support a high-performing team?
Okay, fair. So when you did that for your organization, where did you start from? What are those pieces and steps?
Well, I first asked the question, and the answer was, oh, no, we don't have the right systems and things in place. So then from there, we have to start, you literally have to start at the beginning with the systems and processes before you move into training people and before you move into hiring people. What happens is, which is ridiculous, but it happens, you get somebody who says, we want to hire people who are entrepreneurial. When you hear that, what that really means is that it's code for we have no systems and processes in place, and so we need somebody to come in here and figure this out because we're unwilling to.
That's really funny. So when someone says we want to hire people that are entrepreneurial, which makes sense from their mind, meaning these people are going to own this, they don't have a process in place. So you are very process-oriented and driven. And you've been doing this for how many years now?
8 years. 8 years as the business, and then since the
many decades of experience and wisdom there. So talk a little bit about, and I'm going to segue into this process and getting it down on paper, because you've established this process over 8 years of RevHeat, of course. And then I'm holding in my hand Strategic Selling Unleashed. Congratulations for publishing this. It launched about a month ago, the summer of 2023 here. But you talked about the value of this, for our viewers out there, and the value of this. People will pay $100,000 that they have to pay your firm for this, which is all wrapped up in this book. Kind of elaborate on that.
Sure. We have I'd say a unique system. Well, because it's proprietary, so it's unique. We have a unique system that's objective, prescriptive, and actually scores the opportunities, the sales opportunities that are within your team. And the higher the score, the higher the propensity to close. So we have this awesome methodology that's generated $1 billion in sales for our clients.
Wow, wait, so you keep track of all the clientele and how many sales your organization has generated. It's over $1 billion in sales, cumulatively.
Yes.
So let me step back before you go further into the book. And it's important because you have Ken, and your experience. You have your business and the success over the past 8 years. But if someone's personality and genetics are not sales material for an organization or a team looking to hire salespeople, is there a genetic component to it? Is it that just doesn't fit that personality? And you're laughing at my question, or can you make anybody successful in their own right?
No, you can't.
Okay, so give me a failure. Give me something where you've been put into a situation where someone says, I need my team to be better, but you've realized no matter what you do, you can't fix this team.
Yeah, we have a process we work on with a partner, and we'll actually audit teams before we come in the door. It's akin to doing an MRI before you decide to operate. So most of the time, when I said sales training and consulting industry is broken, it's because nobody evaluates where they are in their actual skill sets versus where they need to be successful in 18 months. So we'll evaluate a team on 21 core selling competencies. And some of are mindset. Some of those are grit. Like, are you coachable? Do you have the desire or the commitment to do whatever is necessary to win? And so we find somebody comes back in low commitment, low desire, uncoachable.
Now, let me ask you a question for our viewers out there. How do you find this out? You're not sitting in front of them and asking them, are you committed or do you have grit? Just give a little bit of juice to the audience, because I'm very curious now. How do you determine this?
Well, a partner that we do this program with has had 2.5 million salespeople go through this evaluation process at 33,000 companies in 200 plus industries. So we have a very significant pool of what success looks like and what success doesn't look like. And so it's done through a 45 to 60 minute audit. And then we evaluate the team. And the cool thing when we do it for teams is we can actually come out of that audit and say to you about your team, they can sell this many million more in this amount of time if you'll do these 10 things.
No way, stop, wait. You actually have that broken down like almost an equation, quantifiable for your client.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little more on that? That's amazing.
Sure. The output of that process for us is what we call the revenue acceleration roadmap. And
is this why it's called RevHeat?
Yes.
Is this why the business is called hot revenue? I'm getting it now.
I figured it was either that or it was an HVAC company, right? So it's called RevHeat. And yeah, with that process, what we're able to do is it takes all that data that we have, because we actually input the data from the organization that says Johnny sold 100,000 and Susie sold 1 million and Frank sold this. And then we're able to extrapolate how much they left on the table. And so with our revenue acceleration roadmap, that becomes the prescriptive scope of how we go change the organization. And so no longer do you have to just go, oh, I wanted to be better closers, right? No, let's do the 10 things and let's get you the extra 25 million.
Have you had organizations after you put this entire prescription together, like most people that we know in the wellness community, the doctors, they leave very unhealthy, they put a prescription together, the people come to January 1st and now go to the gym for the next month or two, but it's never long lasting for the year. How much do you see where people will take your prescription and don't follow all the items that you tell them they have to do?
I would say it's two things, because most of the time we give them this prescription, we go, here's the revenue acceleration roadmap, and you have choices. You can do it on your own. You can have us act as a strategic advisor and we can help those people, or we'll do it with you. I would say that the ones who don't fully engage us, it becomes more difficult, because it's just like anything. All the statistics will tell you on that, change management's the hardest component. And if you're going into something that's not working efficiently, well, it's a change management process because you're fixing some things that are broken.
Interesting. So yeah, the most impactful piece is where you guys are a part of it from beginning to end. And usually it would feel like most organizations, they know at this point, hopefully in their career, that you get what you pay for. Yeah. And obviously you want someone to finish it that you put the whole process together with.
Well, we make it easy too, because we go, hey, here's the deal. We know based upon our data that you're going to get an extra 22 million. With that being said, this process may cost X thousands. And when we do that, we won't work with an organization unless we can get them a 20-to-1 net return. So it becomes mathematical, and guess what? CFOs even like us.
Yeah, that's even hard. For viewers out there, if you work with any purchasing department or any organization, somehow or another in all departments, sales, technology, everything runs through the CFO. It's always very perplexing that the CFO, who has no knowledge on technology, no knowledge on sales, is ultimately the individual that's signing off on some of these larger deals. And you're laughing, Ken, because I'm right on that one.
Well, it's 100%. Let's talk about what's happened just this year in 2023. The things that have happened with Silicon Valley Bank and the other items that have happened. October of 2022, everything fell off the fence, right? It fell off the ledge, and the CFO became the new CEO. And that's what you have to be aware of. If you're not aware of that while you're trying to sell for your organization, or you're trying to run sales for the organization, that's why you're losing deals.
Fair. But let's go back to this tremendous book that you put together that was, nearly a decade in the making. Yeah. I mean, more than a decade, but specifically to your business. So what would someone else who gets this book get out of the book, other than the tremendous value?
Yeah. Well, I think what's awesome about it is I wrote this book from a practitioner's guide. Theory's great, but can Lee take this out and go execute on it? Is it a client-centric process? Will it work in the real world? When I first started my business, I actually served as a fractional CRO or CSO. And so I was client-facing with my clients to their clients. We practiced all this stuff in the field. So you get frameworks, you get mindset. You can be a novice seller to the most advanced on the planet. And I think there's something in here that'll help you succeed.
Well, my friend, look, time flies when you're having fun. Our 15 minutes is almost over. How would people get in touch with you?
Yeah, that's great. I would say come to RevHeat.com. And then as always, we put a lot of content out on LinkedIn. Just look up Ken Lundeen and we'll, let me know that you saw me here, actually.
Absolutely.
Please let me know that you saw me with Lee. And, if you need something or a conversation, we'll give you a free talk if you'd like.
How do we get the book?
Book's available on Amazon. It's available on everything. Audio's coming, but it is currently available in paperback, hardback. And if you go right when you see this, there's a really good chance that it's available on Kindle Unlimited for free right now.
We know a friend of our studio who was one of our first guests here, Renell Richards, just finished completing his audiobook out of our studio. Are you doing your own audiobook?
I am.
You're going to do your voice on the audiobook.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Anything short of that would be a loss for me. So it's wonderful. Ken, thank you for coming on the show today.
It's been my pleasure.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope the show was insightful for you. I know it was for me. We hope to see you again next week on another episode of The Roadmap.